This is Total Retail Tech Insights.
The content retail executives need to optimize their use of technology throughout their organizations.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Tech Insights. I'm Joe Keenan, Editor-in-Chief of Total Retail, and I am joined on today's show by Carlos Dunlap-Beard, who is the Vice President of Business Development and Loyalty Solutions at Clarus Commerce. Carlos and I are going to be discussing premium loyalty programs and specifically acquisition and retention of premium loyalty program members. So thanks for joining me on today's program, Carlos.
Hey, Joe. So good to be here. I appreciate you having me for sure. Hopefully we can make it entertaining and meaningful to those who are listening.
So great. So to get us started, Carlos, tell us a little bit about Clarus Commerce to start, and then kind of secondary, tell us a little bit about your role with the company.
Okay. Well, Clarus is the only company that's focused on building premium loyalty programs for retailers. And by premium loyalty, we're talking about paid loyalty, where members pay a fee to be a member of a brand's program in order to get better benefits, more valuable benefits, better experiences in order to be closer to the brand. It's just a different kind of relationship. And it also, our approach is not just delivering better value, but making it so that the program delivers positive revenues for the brand from day one, as opposed to having the brand having to invest in a platform and program management, project management, and everything else, and then hope that they get enough members in the program that maybe they break even with the program in a year and a half or 2 years. So just a different approach to driving customer loyalty and engagement that seems to be resonating with the marketplace. As far as me, I've been in loyalty marketing since '99, so kind of long in the tooth here, but
yeah,
customer loyalty, customer engagement, customer experience is all I've done over the past 22 years. And it's my passion. If I'm not actively talking to a brand about how to get them from where they are to where they want to be in terms of customer loyalty, then I'm writing a paper. I'm helping the sales guy sell something into something. I'm working with existing clients to enhance and evolve their current strategy. It's what I do. Besides golfing and drinking bourbon, that's what I do.
And a real subject matter expert, as you said, working in this field since '99. So you really have the experience and the knowledge to speak to this topic. So to kind of get into it a little bit more, so let's talk a little bit about, you addressed kind of how the value of a premium loyalty program and premium loyalty member acquisition and retention tends to be, or at least in the past has been, more difficult for retailers than free loyalty, as you would expect. You're asking them to pay some sort of fee to be a member, but in the long run, those premium loyalty program members are more loyal. So tell us a little bit about your experience and what makes premium loyalty members so valuable to retailers.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a multitude of things. It's premium loyalty, just like it's not for every brand, it's not for every customer either. Customers have to see that they can get a value for paying for a different kind of experience. They have to see that it's going to be worth it. They start to do kind of like mental math in a sense to determine if I'm going to pay a fee for this program, will I get my money's worth out of this thing? And, it's kind of like, going to a buffet. You're not going to pay $25, $30 for a buffet if you think you're going to eat one plate. If you're going in, you're going big, and you got to see that it's worth it. So that's one thing. So it's probably for the top, anywhere between the top 5 to 20% of a brand's customers, those who come back more often, buy more things, and usually those who have the ability to do even more than they're currently doing. So that's one element of it. The other is when a consumer joins a premium program, they have expectations now. you know, you've probably experienced it too, Joe, where, a family or friend will ask you for some advice around marketing or maybe around podcasting or around, anything having to do with other specialties and disciplines you have, and you give them that advice. They usually don't listen to it. They don't follow it. Yep. But if you charge them a fee, or more likely they'll go to someone else who will charge them a fee, who'll tell them exactly what you told them, but then they will follow that advice because they paid for it. And it's the same thing. So someone paying for a membership to a brand's program is going to expect more out of it, and they're going to participate on a different level. Now, it's not to say that once someone joins a program, they stay forever, joins a premium program. To be fair, they stay forever, because that would be disingenuous for me to even insinuate that, because sometimes once they get in, they figure, I thought I would shop with this brand, once a month or 6 times a year, but instead I'm only shopping like twice a year, and plus these other benefits, and maybe I'm close to break even, but maybe not enough to make it worth staying in. And consumers have to make decisions that are right for them.
And they're looking for value too, right? To your point that, they've invested in it. They've got some skin in the game. If they're paying a fee to be a part of it, they want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth. And that's where kind of identifying the right customers, to your first point, like it's probably your top 20 to 30% of your customers are the ones that are going to be potential candidates for a loyalty, a premium loyalty program.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is definitely that top quarter, maybe even the top quintile of customers who are the best targets for this. And again, if they find that it's not working, they do something different, but that's why I think in our experience, we've been at this since 2001, so 20 years, that we found it that it's to do it effectively, you kind of have to compound the benefits. You have to have multiple layers of benefits that make it kind of like a no-brainer, that make it so that even if sometimes maybe they aren't shopping at the host brand as often as they thought they might, but they see other value because they can shop at a marketplace that has 1,000 other retail brands in it that they can shop with online or in store and get some kind of benefit from, or they can book travel and get some cash back or so. That is a benefit that more than compensates for the fee, or which is a real big pain point for a lot of consumers, they get free shipping on everything. And so you start putting all these different types of benefits together into a more of a bigger value proposition. Then consumers say, okay, now this is making a whole lot of sense to me. There's no way I can't get more than my money's worth out of this thing. And that's what we found to be successful.
And you talked a little bit, Carlos, about kind of the momentum moving towards more premium loyalty programs. The free models existed for so long now. Do the two have to be, in your eyes, mutually exclusive, or do you feel like there's a good amount of crossover that can exist? And especially with those, top, 20, 15% of your customers that you think are your best targets for your premium loyalty programs. Are they potentially in both a free model and also part of the premium program? And how does that coexist?
Yeah, so I want to be clear. We think, and data has shown by the number of brands who've taken up premium programs of late, there are a lot who have existing strategies out there, whether it be RAI or Barnes and Noble or GameStop and others. And there are those who have recently launched full-fledged premium programs like Walmart Plus last fall, who opened a lot of eyes. And then there are those who have pilots in place right now, such as Urban Outfitters and Lululemon and Best Buy. So this isn't, just isn't a fad. This isn't going away. What all these brands are realizing is, well, first of all these brands have kind of a passionate kind of customer base. I think that's important. Yeah. And also a means or a product and service set that that leads to multiple transactions within a given year. All right, so there's that. And plus all these auxiliary kind of services or products or whatever else that make them appealing across, a broad spectrum of consumers. But but they're all trying to figure it out because they've realized is that customers and consumers in general are willing to pay for a better experience. And not only that once they're in these programs, the thing about traditional loyalty. So traditional loyalty programs, traditional, and I say traditional, I think about, again, remember how old I am. Is all about, a free points-based program. And then it became a free points-based program with tiers and levels. And then became, you add in some experiences and other things, but still there's only so much those programs can do because they do cost the brand a lot of money to implement them. And there is always that balance between how much we giving away in terms of value proposition versus our returns. And those returns are usually incremental in terms of single digits.
Yeah.
Single digit increase in top line revenue or spend or frequency, or, if we get the average member that does 2 trips a year, we can get them to 2.2 trips, 2.5 trips a year or something like that, right? Shopping trips. So what we see in terms of premium loyalty is that the numbers are kind of 4x, traditional loyalty program in terms of what members are doing. Now, consider though, you're dealing with a smaller set of customers, but you're dealing, just throughout the old 80-20 adage, that smaller set represents a greater percentage of spend. So to be able to move them from 2 trips a year to now 3 trips a year, 3.5, because the incrementality is larger, and to make their spend, instead of taking their average spend up 10% in the average order value, it goes up to 50% increase in average order value. You're talking about big numbers, and that's what our clients have realized, that the ability to help fund the program rewards and benefits and the program platform and operations, all those things, as well as so that takes a lot off of them from a budgetary perspective, but 2, the numbers and the results they see in terms of incremental spend, top line revenue growth, GMV is so significant that it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and as you've clearly kind of painted the picture here, the economics of it just makes sense to what you've talked about, kind of funding the program itself, but also that average order value and that CLV, that customer lifetime value as well. So it just makes sense to what you're saying.
Joe, Joe, before you ask your next question, it does occur to me that I didn't answer your question. So to go back to the free portion of it, free programs are valuable. I want to be very clear about that. They are valuable especially in terms of their ability to collect data on a more massive scale across the customer base. And that's one thing. And 2, it does, as I mentioned before, drive some incrementality that eventually in a year and a half, 2 years offsets the investment needed to bring it to market. So there's that. And it does start to nurture a relationship with consumers. So my thought, or I guess Clarus's point of view around all of it, is that a combination of paid and free in terms of your overall loyalty strategy that allows consumers to determine the type of relationship that they want to have with the brand, that even if they decide they don't want to continue to pay for enhanced benefits and value, they still can stay in the free program. And then if they're in the free program and they want a better experience, they're willing to pay for it, as we've seen with all the subscription services and streaming services and everything else. Consumers want to pay for what they want when they want it. That it is a beautiful thing, and it also keeps all of those customers, all of those program members within the brand's ecosystem, their loyalty ecosystem, and they don't lose them. So I
Yeah.
think that's really important. And I think that's why free and paid can work so well together.
Yeah, and that flexibility that you mentioned, that the customers are looking for that, and then that option, those dual options, provide some value to the customer, and they're appealing to the customer. So, which leads me into, let's talk about that customer for a second in terms
Okay.
of the acquisition of them for
Mhm.
premium and specific to premium loyalty. Tell us a little bit about some of the things. It's obviously not, to your point, it's not, it might not be right for every customer. What are your thoughts in terms of, is it difficult to get people to sign up for premium loyalty program? And maybe a second part of that is, what are you seeing brands doing that are effective in driving registration into premium loyalty?
Okay. Well, fortunately, as I just mentioned, consumers like to pay for what they want. And they're willing to pay for a better experience. And we see that across the board with, again, all the manner of pay loyalty programs, subscription services, home deliveries, whatever it might be. But we did a consumer data study with Walker Sands, as the Walker Sands Clarus consumer data study in 2020, that in which the respondents, 70% of respondents, said that they were willing to join a brand's program if they only offered a program. So if their favorite retailer offered a program, they would be willing to join. And 67% who are in a free program that a brand has says they're willing to pay for a premium program if that brand offer the program that has the right amount of value and benefits. So consumers are willing. Now, how do you get them? How do you attract them? Well, that's something we have been testing, modifying, optimizing for the past 20 years. It's not always easy, but it's what we see is anywhere between 5 to 8% of consumers will, based on impressions and everything, will opt into a program. What gets them is two things. I guess there's three things. So the first is, hopefully I remember them all now. Keep adding numbers. So the first is the initial offer, right? What's the offer? And usually, if someone has paid shipping for something, if it's online, then if you give them a rebate or give them a refund on their shipping, then boom, now you've got their attention. Two, if you give them an offer for their next transaction back with that brand, now you've really got them intrigued. And then if you say, for all future purchases, you're going to get X, an immediate benefit to being a member of this program, like 10% back, cash back, in a sense that you can use for future purchase at the brand. Now they have a decision to make. Do they think they'll shop enough to make that worthwhile, or do they, or is it not appealing, or at least not appealing at this time, right? So those are kind of there's a combination of factors that has to clearly lay out the benefits and the value to consumers in order to get them to consider it, and then of course to get them to take action.
Are you seeing that your clients presenting those offers? Is it happening in the checkout page, if they're browsing it, or is it happening potentially on the product pages? Where are customers getting these offers, and where do you recommend, do you wait until they get to the checkout, into the cart page, and they're ready to make that purchase? Like, hey, you could get free shipping if you join our loyalty program, and then they're kind of doing the math in their head, like, oh, does this make sense for me? Where are you seeing retailers having success in kind of driving potential registrants for their premium loyalty programs?
Yeah. Well, there's multiple ways, and there's multiple touch points that could be had, that can be engaged, I should say, to get to the consumer. One, the whole in-cart thing. So to do it in cart, which we do multiple different ways, but doing it in cart, there's considerations in terms of Yeah, it is easier for the consumer just to kind of add it or click a box or add it, kind of goes in as a SKU, and therefore it's added to the transaction, which may take the transaction higher than the consumer might be wanting to spend at that particular time.
Yeah.
It may interfere with the actual product or service sale of the brand. There's things to consider there. So some brands look at it as a convenience. Others may look at it as a kind of a hindrance or a roadblock to them completing a transaction. And no one wants to slow up the speed of transaction, right? Or interfere with that process. So the vast majority of our clients do it post-transaction or on like the order confirmation page where the offer is then made, where a member can, or a customer rather, at that point can determine if they want to become a program member. Here's the offer, here's the opportunity to get cash back or get your shipping refunded, or if you didn't pay shipping, because a lot of brands offer free shipping for someone who purchases, $100 or more, or whatever the offer might be. Then here's an offer for you now to for your next purchase back with the brand. You can do that, plus get free shipping ongoing, regardless of promotion, plus get, free returns, plus get 10% back on purchases, plus get 5% or 10% back when you purchase through any of 1,000 retail brands that are in the marketplace, including the big boys like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and the like. So when you bundle all that together, again, going back to the original thing I talked about, that's what makes it, or at least gets a consumer to consider whether or not it's the right thing to do. So where you talk to them is important. I mean, it can happen on the phone. We do in store. But again, the goal is to educate, to make it an easy experience, to remove as much friction as possible for the enrollment process, and to not interfere with or slow the speed of the transaction, because the brand, is in business to make a sale, and not to let those opportunities slip by.
Yep. And then kind of, I want to address the, kind of the other side of the coin, Carlos, in terms of, okay, once you have that customer in the fold, they're become a premium loyalty program member.
Mm-hmm.
Then the goal turns from acquisition into, okay, how do we keep this customer in the program? Talk a little bit about the need for retailers to constantly be evaluating, refreshing, optimizing their premium loyalty programs in order to keep giving those customers value so that they continue within the program and that there's not this huge rate of attrition.
Yeah, that's a good point. You summed it up really. It's, and it's not even just about premium loyalty program. Again, I'm a loyalty marketer. I specialize in premium loyalty, but I'm all about loyalty strategy, activation, first acquisition and then activation, because you got to get them active. Because what we find is that traditionally, half the people, if not 60% of them who join a program, don't really do much after joining the program. So it's like, well, wait a minute, why did you join if you're not going to do anything? So what research has also shown is that if you can get them active and exhibiting some kind of program behavior in the first 60 to 90 days, you have a better chance of keeping them active. And then as you keep them active and get them doing more things, so not just making a transaction, but updating their profile within their account on the program website, so that you get more information about them, their household. And that's really important these days as we look at, the whole cookie thing and Google doing away with tracking. And so how are brands going to get information? How are they going to get that zero party data? And that's, a lot of it has to do with through a loyalty program or mechanism like a loyalty program, in order to capture, lifestyle information, household demographics, interest, preferred brands, products, all those things that make marketers smarter about who their customers are. So getting them active, getting them making referrals to family and friends, consuming content, whether it be video or articles, providing product or service reviews, all those, attending in-store events, online events, all those are things that we try to engage. All those are engaging kinds of activities that are beneficial to the brand, that are rewarding and beneficial to the consumer, that then deepens the relationship between the two.
Yeah, and to your point around that constant collection of data as well, consumers, there's so much competition out there. They expect that personalized experience, and without that information, without that customer view, the view of the customer, which with that data you're able to collect from a loyalty program, it makes it that much more challenging.
Yeah, there's nothing more frustrating from a consumer's point of view than providing data, letting a brand track them as far as their transactions and other behaviors, as far as, letting the brand identify them with every transaction with that brand, so they know what products, what services, they prefer, and then to get a generic message.
Yeah.
That is frustrating. I experience that quite a bit. And
Yep.
I'm always evaluating it. Again, it's just, besides drinking bourbon and playing golf, this is about all I do.
Yeah.
It is frustrating for me as a consumer and as someone who knows that this brand has all this information on me, yet they send me a generic offer, like they send, that they're pushing 1 million out a day, and it's annoying.
Yeah. Well, I think you make a great point. So I want to wrap here, Carlos, and just for our audience, the retailers in our audience that want to learn a little bit more about premium loyalty, I think you've given them some really sound advice and some great information today. How can they get in touch with you, learn more about Clarus Commerce and all that your business can offer them?
Yeah. The easiest way to get in touch with us is just, we've said the word premium loyalty multiple times. So premium loyalty at claruscommerce.com is a great way to just reach out, and one of our, experts will be happy to engage in a conversation. No, obviously no pressure, just to talk a little bit more about what we do, how we do it, just what the advantages are, help you understand how to elevate a free program or add a premium tier on top if you're looking to do that, or just start with a premium program, how to test it, pilot it. And as I mentioned before, all the programs that we do for our clients, we don't require them to pay us a fee to do it. So it's a way of doing it without having to, bust budgets or whatever, but there's still a process by which, you want to engage your organization. So that's one thing. Another thing is we have plenty of content that we publish around premium loyalty, like the definitive guide to premium loyalty. It's kind of like an ebook with how to do it, essentials, KPIs, all those things. So that's also important with premium or any other loyalty program. Understanding what you're trying to accomplish and what success looks like, as far as metrics of success, metrics or key performance indicators, or whatever it is you're doing. You need to understand what you're trying to do and be able to measure against it. I mean, that's extremely important. Just again, another just piece of advice for you there. But anyway, we have plenty of other contents, and I mentioned the 2020 premium loyalty data study. You can just reach that on our site at claruscommerce.com, as well as we talked to 300 marketers earlier this year, just to understand what is on the mind of marketers and what they're thinking about in terms of customer loyalty, and engagement, and what even if they're thinking about premium loyalty. So that's our 2021 marketer data study that is also on our website, that marketers who are even considering loyalty at all might want to look at. It's just as a resource. That's all.
Yeah, to your point, there's some really great content there so that retailers can help educate themselves on some of this important information about loyalty, and specifically our conversation today about premium loyalty. With that in mind, Clarus has recently produced a premium loyalty starter bundle, which includes the data study that you've referenced, as well as more great content packaged together. Our listeners can get this resource by going to claruscommerce.com/total retail. So I want to take the opportunity to thank Carlos Dunlap-Beard, again, the Vice President of Business Development and Loyalty Solutions at Clarus Commerce. So thanks for joining me, Carlos.
Been my pleasure, Joe. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcast for show notes. Tech Insights is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Tech Insights.